Welcome, 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 welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about bringing it forth. And the bringing it forth I'm referencing is the bringing forth of our dreams and our goals and our aspirations. And no dream was ever realized without resistance. It's part of our human condition. And the bigger the dream, the greater the resistance. So today we're talking about overcoming resistance and slaying the dragons as we progress and actualize and shine our light in the world. Stay with me, because today we are inviting the wonderful learning and teaching of Steven Pressfield in his very highly regarded book, The War of Art. And we're going to pull alongside his learning, and together we're going to map a course, chart a pathway. We was mapping and charting. Beginning of the last video we were mapping and charting too, but that's okay, because we need to map, we need to know, we need to understand what's coming our way so that we can navigate past these blocks that this resistance demon has hurled down in our pathway, and that keeps a lot of us, quite frankly, just stuck. So welcome, let's go on this journey together. Lovely to have you back. So let's jump in. We're going to look at what resistance is, we're going to look at why resistance shows up, and we're going to have a look at overcoming it. So what is resistance? We all know this, we all know what it is. And if you can identify it and appreciate what's happening to you, you raise your level of awareness around it, and that is already some of the battle won. So resistance, we know what this is. Resistance manifests for all of us in different ways, but we've got a lot of us will have a lot in common here. It can manifest as self-doubt. It can manifest as procrastination. It can manifest as imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough. I'll never be good enough. We're comparing ourselves. We're looking around, comparing ourselves to other people and just finding ourselves coming up short because we are not acknowledging the fact that our interpretation of that thing, whatever that is unique to us and special in its own way. We doubt ourselves. Resilience can show up, Pressfield says, in a very insidious, very subtle way, where we are experiencing resistance, but we don't even know we're experiencing resistance. So it can be drama that we create in our lives. It can be engaging with incessant gossip. It can be dining out on all the news and, oh my goodness, the world is getting increasingly darker. Fear is another huge form of resistance. And Pressfield talks about resistance with a capital R, and he gives it a face, like the face of a demon. In his book, he references resistance as an entity, as a force that we need to do battle with on a daily basis. So what are we fearing? We're fearing criticism, we're fearing judgment, we are fearing not being good enough, we're fearing failure, scorn, ridicule. Man, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for the first troll, the first brutal negative comment. And I'm kind of preparing myself for that. It's going to take, let's see. Do a video about how to deal with negative criticism, because somebody's written a book and there'll be a way around it, because nothing's getting in my way. No trolls, no nothing. I'm getting this done. As I've been journeying with Pressfield's work, I have been questioning another fear of mine, which is increasingly coming from the unconscious to the conscious, and that is a fear of success. Why am I afraid of success? I think on some level I don't feel worthy of success. I feel I may not be able to manage the responsibility that success brings. I feel that success at the level that I'm dreaming of for myself and pulling into the world is unfamiliar. And it's kind of this idea of keeping our environments familiar and safe is baked into our DNA. It's like a tribal cave troglodyte kind of way of thinking that's millions of years old, and it's time to upgrade that thinking. So perhaps I fear ostracization. Perhaps I fear the power of my own light. I fear the death of my small life. Scary. What if I have real talent? What if I can really build the dream that I want to build? The onus is then on me to act on that. Pressfield also questions why resistance shows up, and he's got a really interesting idea. His feeling is, and his major premise is, the bigger the goal, the greater the resistance. When we have that fear and that doubt and that anxiety, it is when the goal really matters. So it's like a road sign. He said when you figuring out your purpose and you're trying to find your direction, a good way to navigate that, what is going to point to your true north, is to follow the direction of your greatest fear. And I mean, obviously we have to be sensible about it, but I can see where he's coming from. So I really like that idea of the more important the work, the greater the resistance. And we need to slay those dragons in order to move past that into the realm of where we're sitting down, doing the work, going into a state of flow and getting the job done. So this morning, having really marinated myself in his work, this morning when I woke up, I knew that I was going to be filming this video, and the resistance manifested like a sickness in my stomach, like this fear, this knot, and I'm trying to unpack what that is, but I recognize that it's like, oh, and then I thought to myself, well, Steven is saying that this means that I'm on the right track. Yes, I'm on the right track, because I really want to get this project launched. I really want to get this YouTube channel up and running. And I know that every time, because the first and the second video, this is the third one, I've got that knot in my stomach, and there's nowhere to turn. There's nowhere to run from it. It's pointless procrastinating, because it'll be done tomorrow or the next day or whatever, but it's got to get done. And if I'm procrastinating, and I've tried procrastinating, I just feel sick, and I can't enjoy whatever it is I'm doing. I've reached a point in my journey now where I can't not do it. I am committed. And I'm committed to the process of learning, and I'm committed to the process of making mistakes and learning from my mistakes and getting a little bit better incrementally until I can sit here and speak like a consummate professional, and maybe without so many notes. I wrote these myself, though. They're my notes. If I look at them, they're mine. So, how do we overcome resistance? Pressfield talks about us moving from the status of amateur to professional, and it's how we perceive ourselves. It's a mindset shift. So, and the kind of professionalism he's talking about is not the archetypal lawyer, doctor. It's the professional ideal. So instead of seeing what we're doing as a little hobby or just a little side hustle, he encourages us to see it as a job, as a profession. So we bake in time, and we have schedules where we sit down, and it's not negotiable. He encourages us to master our craft and to hone our skills. And this is maybe a good opportunity to remind ourselves of Csikszentmihalyi's state of flow, where he encourages us to chunk up our works into manageable bite-sized pieces so that we can build that momentum. An amateur works when he's in the mood. An amateur works when he or she feels like it. I'm not in the mood today. I'll do it tomorrow. A professional shows up, gets the job done, regardless if they feel like doing it or not. If we think of ourselves in our jobs, in our 9-to-5s, we show up every day without question, without complaint. If we're feeling a little unwell, we show up anyway because we don't want to let our colleagues down, and we get the job done. And we do it to the best of our ability, and we do it every single day until we retire, because no ifs, no buts, no questions. We get the job done. We show up with integrity, and we do our best. Pressfield encourages us to do the same for ourselves. We show up, and we show up as professionals, and we show up on time, and we do our best. The other night I sat down to do some work on conceptualizing this video, and I sat down with a glass of wine. And I thought, hell no, would I show up in my job, at my desk, or in my classroom with a glass of wine? Can you imagine? No, I don't. It doesn't even occur to me. I wouldn't even dream of it. So why? Why am I doing that now? So I picked up that glass of wine, took my little funnel. I didn't pour it down the sink. Oh, no. I poured it back in the bottle. That's for when we're going to actually just have a glass of wine and unwind while the vegetables are steaming on the stove. This isn't something that we're going to do while we're trying to conceptualize the work of Steven Pressfield. What he also encourages us to do, and I love this one because I can actually do this one, and that is he encourages us to, as part of the professional mindset, is to work in an ordered and structured environment. He says, he was talking about the mess that he found himself in and how it cleared it fogged up his brain and really impeded his progress as a writer, as a creator. He said the professional cannot live like that. He is on a mission. He will not tolerate disorder. He eliminates chaos from his world in order to banish it from his mind. I've long thought that to be the case. When things are spick and span and in place, it empowers me on a very interesting level. And as a result, I keep my environment ordered and spick and span. Ever since, well, for a long time, I've kind of shown up in that way. He wants the carpet vacuumed and the threshold swept, so the muse may enter and not soil her gown. Oh, I love that. So, I've shown up as best as I can. I struggle continuously with resistance, but now I'm getting a flavor. It's like I'm starting to recognize it for what it is when it comes, so I can, not today. I'm getting the job done, and I work through the fear, and I work through the angst, and I get the job done. So is this video going to be great? I don't know. It's going to be okay, I think, but it's going to be done. And I will have learned from it. I will have grown from it. I can rewatch it and make different decisions in the future, but it is the only way I'm going to get better. I will become more skilled and more capable as I go along. But in the meantime, I hope I'm not tormenting you in the process, and I hope that I'm not butchering this fine piece of work, because I think that's why there was so much resistance, is I just felt the responsibility of it, sharing this information with you in the hopes that you will take something from it and be able to manifest your light in the world and turn to his readings rather than turning away. So Pressfield encourages us to just do the work. He said it's probably useful if you love it and it's a passion. Otherwise, it would be a little bit of a non-starter. But he encourages us to just start with that first small thing, and I agree. He says the hardest part is getting yourself to sit down, because once you're sitting, the inspiration comes. He says that when we're sitting, unseen forces come to our aid. Our commitment and our courage acts as a beacon, and we start to feel this universal support, and synchronicities begin to happen, and our project begins to flow in the directions that we dreamed and hoped that it would. And I think this is where the expressions are born, the expressions like the harder I work, the luckier I become, and fortune favors the bold, because maybe there really are angels, and I believe they are, whatever you want to call them, angels, the universe. They are these beings that are awakened when we are tapping into our potential and we resonating with our possibility. We garner this metaphysical support. So it does get a bit woo-woo here, but it is an interesting idea to consider. Pressfield issues us with a stark warning. He says if we don't bring it forth, if we don't channel this river of possibility that flows through each and every one of us, and we not actualizing that, it flows. If it's not flowing into possibility, it flows into something more malignant, and we end up having kind of the shadow success, and we plunge into addictions and dramas, and it all becomes a little bit twisted. He has this feeling that there'd be less broken marriages, there would be less addiction, less abuse, less suffering in the world if everybody, or more of us increasingly, were channeling this river of possibility and manifesting it into the world. He encourages us to bring it forth. He says we must save ourselves or suffer. So take heart and be encouraged, because Pressfield reminds us that resistance has no strength of its own. Every ounce of juice it possesses comes from us. We feed it with power by our fear of it. Master that fear, and we conquer resistance. It's interesting. I find this channel that I'm giving birth to. The first videos, this first series, is almost becoming like the documenting of the birth of a YouTube channel and all of its flaws and struggles. And as always, remember, you are enough exactly as you are. You are worthy. You are worthy of success. You fit in, and you will always fit in. You belong. There is a significant place in this world for you, and you are going to be okay. See you soon. Bye-bye.